sometimes scary situations don't even look that bad, but we see the effects on our dogs in the aftermath. And that's what happened to Sammy on this year's New Year's Eve. It wasn't that bad. He wasn't that scared. We prepared really, really well for it, and we trained a lot. So we did all the things, right? And he only had to hide during the peak firework moment at midnight. So it wasn't that bad, and he wasn't even that scared then. So there was no shaking, there was no huge eyes or something like that. He just got into his safe zone and he stayed there for a little bit, not that long. But in the days after New Year's Eve, I suddenly started to notice changes in him. So he's usually very eager for his training or game session in the evening. We always have our routine enrichment or training session in the evening. Now, in wintertime, this is when it's already dark outside, and suddenly he didn't want to do this anymore. He was no longer eager to participate. He was not interested in doing anything after dark. And again, there was no obvious fear, so he did not hide. He did not display any fear signs. He just didn't want to do his usual stuff. And of course, my first idea was something medical, because he has so many medical issues that it can always be something like that. And if your dog displays sudden changes in behavior, always consider medical stuff first. But he is checked, and usually whenever something is medically wrong with him, he reacts differently. So for him, this was unusual. And since it only happened after dark, so he was his usual self during the day, right? And he would also participate in any game, any training, any whatever during the day. It was just a change after it got dark out. So I was pretty sure it had something to do with New Year's Eve, because, well, they usually start shooting fireworks after dark in my country. And he seemed to be anticipating something scary happening when it got dark out. He also didn't want to go outside. He did to do his potty, but no more. So what we started doing, and this was tricky, right? Because yes, of course, I could start training, but how would I start training if my dog doesn't participate in anything, right? So I would just ask him to do something, and he would lie there and look at me, and it was a clear no. So what could we do? I started with something really, really, really simple, and it was a sniffing carpet, or you might know it as snuffle mat. It's just larger. My sniffing carpet is larger. And this was something he could actually do. He was hesitant about it, but it was easy enough for him to be able to participate. And that's when he realized that he could actually do something and take his mind off the anticipated scary thing, and it still wouldn't happen. So this was our way in. And whenever that worked really well and he got relaxed again, we started to do a little bit more, and that was boxes. Boxes are something really, really easy. Not for every dog. Again, if a dog is trapped in fear, this is tricky, right? And I saw that in him, because in the beginning he couldn't do boxes. But then, after the introduction with the snuffle carpet, he could do the boxes again. And that's again when he thought a little bit more and when he relaxed a little bit more. So whenever that worked really well, we took it up a notch and we started introducing training again. But again, very easy stuff he really liked to do, not tricky things, but just easy exercises where he could get his rewards pretty fast. And that's how he recovered very quickly. Now, a few days later, he would just be able to go outside again. He would just be able to do stuff again in his regular routine. And of course, what we also did was, whenever it was light out, we did some exercises, a little bit of training, a little bit of gaming outside, because I wanted to relax him outside again as well. Now, if he had more trouble recovering from that, so if it wouldn't have worked, I would have started at sunset. So I would have started a little bit earlier so that it would have been still light out, and then gradually shifted into darkness again. This wasn't necessary with him. It's just something that we could have in mind if it weren't that fast. And what also happened was, since he relaxed again, he could also go back outside after dark and sniff around a little bit, walk a little bit. And that was really our breakthrough. I am so proud of him. It was difficult for him, but he overcame his fear. And again, this is something you don't have to see right away, and it's still there. Now, what I know definitely now is that we will do even more training and tackle his sound sensitivity even more. And if you want to know how you can do that with your dog, watch this video.